If you are receiving CPP or OAS right now, or if you are planning to retire sometime in the next few years, you need to stop whatever you are doing and watch this entire video. Because what the Canadian government just updated for 2026 is something that a massive number of retirees across this country do not fully understand yet. And honestly, not understanding it could cost you hundreds of dollars every single month. We are talking about the difference between collecting $1,800 a month and collecting $2,400 a month. That is a $600 gap every single month. Over the course of a year, that is $7,200 that some Canadians are leaving on the table simply because they did not know the rules had changed, or because they made a decision about when to start their benefits without having the full picture. Now, here's the thing. This is not a minor technical adjustment buried in some government document that nobody reads. These are real, meaningful updates to how CPP payments are calculated when OAS gets adjusted, how the GIS works for lower-income seniors, and how the clawback thresholds are shifting in 2026. Every single one of these things affects what lands in your bank account each month, and a lot of retirees are missing this entirely, so stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly where you stand, what these new numbers mean for you personally, and what steps you may want to take before it is too late to make a difference. Let us start with the big picture because it is important that you understand just how much has shifted heading into 2026. Canada's retirement benefit system, which includes the Canada Pension Plan, Old Age Security, and the Guaranteed Income Supplement, has gone through a series of layered changes over the past few years, and the 2026 updates are not happening in isolation. They are the continuation of a longer story that started when the government began the CPP Enhancement Program back in 2019. Here is what that means in plain language. If you worked and contributed to CPP after 2019, you are contributing to what is called the Enhanced CPP. That means your eventual payout when you retire is going to be higher than what someone who retired in 2018 or earlier is currently receiving under the old formula. This is not a small difference for younger retirees or those just entering the system now. We are talking about a meaningfully larger monthly check once the enhancement is fully phased in. But here is where it gets interesting and where a lot of confusion starts. The enhancement does not automatically upgrade what current retirees are already receiving. If you are already collecting CPP and you retired before the enhancement contributions kicked in, your base benefit is locked in under the old calculation. What you do get, however, are the annual cost of living adjustments, and those have been significant given how inflation has behaved over the past few years. For 2026, the CPP adjustment is tied to the Consumer Price Index, and seniors who have been watching their grocery bills, their utility costs, and their rent or property taxes climb month after month know exactly why this matters. The inflation adjustments are real, but a lot of people do not realize they are automatic, or they do not realize how to verify whether their payment has actually been updated correctly. And that is one of the first mistakes I want to flag right now, not checking. A lot of seniors assume their payment is correct and just deposit the check without ever verifying it against what they are actually entitled to. Do not do that, especially not in 2026 when the numbers are shifting. Now let me explain what is really going on with the gap between the $1,800 retiree and the $20,400 retiree, because this is the part that tends to shock people the most. Think about two people. Both are 67 years old. Both worked for decades and paid into CPP their entire careers. On paper, they look similar, but their monthly payments are hundreds of dollars apart. Why? Because of 5 key factors that most people underestimate when they are planning their retirement. The first factor is how long you contributed and at what income level. CPP is not a flat payment. It is based on your contributory history, meaning the number of years you paid in and the amount you earned up to the yearly maximum pensionable earnings. Someone who contributed at or near the maximum for 35 to 40 years is going to receive a dramatically higher payment than someone who had gaps, worked part-time, or had lower earnings through parts of their career. The second factor is when you started taking CPP. This is massive, and this is where a lot of retirees made a decision they now quietly regret. If you took CPP at 60, your payment was reduced by 7.2% for every year before 65. That means taking it at 60 instead of 65 reduced your payment by 36%. Permanently, for life. On the other hand, if you delayed taking CPP past 65, your payment increased by 8.4% for every year you waited, up to age 70. That means someone who waited until 70 gets a payment that is 42% higher than someone who took it at 65. Let that sink in. Two people with identical contribution histories. One took it early, one took it late. The difference in their monthly payments could easily be the difference between $1,800 and $2,400, or even more. The third factor is OAS timing. Old age security starts at 65 for most people, but like CPP, you can defer it up to age 70 for an increased payment. In 2026, the maximum OAS payment for someone between 65 and 74 is in the range that, when combined with CPP, can significantly push total retirement income either up or down, depending on your choices. The fourth factor is whether you qualify for the Guaranteed Income Supplement. GIS is a tax-free monthly payment added on top of OAS for lower-income seniors. A lot of people do not realize they may qualify for this, especially in retirement when their income drops. And in 2026, there have been updates to how GIS eligibility is assessed that could open the door for more seniors than before. We are going to come back to this in a moment. The fifth factor is taxes and the OAS clawback. This one catches a huge number of retirees off guard. If your net income in retirement exceeds a certain threshold, the government begins clawing back your OAS payment. In 2026, that threshold has been adjusted, and if you are pulling income from RRSPs, pensions, investments, or other sources, you may be pushing yourself into clawback territory without realizing it. Let us talk about the new 2026 payment schedule, because this is something people are already searching for, and a lot of the information out there is either outdated or confusing. CPP and OAS are paid monthly, and the payment dates for 2026 fall generally in the last week of each month. The exact dates shift slightly depending on weekends and statutory holidays, but if you are on direct deposit, which every Canadian retiree should absolutely be using if they are not already, you will see that money hit your account reliably and on schedule. Now, here is the thing about the 2026 payment amounts specifically. The annual January adjustment, which reflects the prior year's inflation figures, has already been applied. So, if your CPP payment in January 2026 looked a little different than it did in December 2025, that is why. The CPI-based increase has been baked in. But the important question many seniors are not asking is whether the increase they received actually reflects their full entitlement. Because errors do happen. And with the CPP enhancement continuing to phase in and new calculation rules layering on top of old ones, the complexity of the system creates real opportunities for discrepancies. If you have not logged into your My Service Canada account recently, that needs to happen. You can see your full CPP contribution history, your projected payment amounts, and your current benefit breakdown right there online. And if something does not look right, you have the right to request a review. This is not a one-time change. These numbers could continue shifting throughout 2026 as additional quarterly assessments and CPI updates are applied. Staying on top of this is not optional if you want to make sure you are getting every dollar you are entitled to. Now, I want to spend a few minutes on CRA rules, clawbacks, and the retirement mistakes that are quietly draining income from Canadian seniors right now, because this is the part that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody needs to hear. The OAS recovery tax, more commonly called the clawback, kicks in when your net income exceeds the annual threshold set by the CRA. For 2026, that threshold has been adjusted slightly upward, but it is still a number that a surprising number of middle-income retirees are bumping into. For every dollar your income exceeds that threshold, 15 cents of your OAS is clawed back. If your income is high enough, your entire OAS payment gets eliminated. Now, a lot of retirees are triggering this clawback unnecessarily. How? By pulling large RRSP withdrawals in the early years of retirement before converting to a RRIF, or by not planning the sequencing of their income sources carefully. Sometimes it is as simple as taking too much too early from the wrong account, and suddenly you have handed back thousands of dollars in OAS without ever meaning to. The fix, in a lot of cases, involves something called income splitting, strategic RRSP drawdown, or timing the conversion of savings to minimize the income that the CRA counts toward that clawback threshold. These are not exotic strategies. They are basic retirement tax planning tools. But a lot of retirees are not using them because nobody explained that the rules even apply to them. A lot of seniors may not realize this until it is too late. And that is the truth. Because you often do not find out about the clawback until you file your taxes and suddenly see a repayment owing on your return. By that point, the income has already been taken. The damage is done for that year. Planning ahead is everything. Let me give you a couple of hypothetical examples to make this real, because numbers in the abstract do not always land the way real stories do. Take Margaret. She is 68 years old, lives in Sudbury, Ontario, and retired at 63. She started her CPP early because she needed the income and did not want to wait. She gets a reduced CPP payment because of the early start, and her OAS started at 65. Combined, she brings in around $1,780 per month from government benefits. She is managing, but with rising grocery prices, her hydro bill climbing every winter, and her property taxes going up, she is feeling the squeeze every single month. What Margaret may not realize is that she could potentially qualify for a partial GIS supplement depending on her total income picture, which could add another $150 to $300 per month, tax-free, to what she is already receiving. Now take Robert. He is 70 years old, lives just outside Calgary, and he made the decision to delay both his CPP and his OAS. He waited until 70 to take CPP and until 68 for OAS. His CPP payment is significantly enhanced because of the delay, and his OAS is also higher. Combined, Robert is bringing in close to $2,250 per month from government sources alone, before any workplace pension or personal savings. The delay strategy cost him several years of payments up front, but the break-even point has already passed, and for the rest of his life, Robert collects a materially higher income than if he had started everything at 65. Two Canadians, similar working lives, very different monthly retirement incomes. The difference is not luck. It is the decisions they made and whether they had access to clear information when those decisions needed to be made. Now, I need to talk about something that is affecting every single Canadian retiree right now, regardless of how much they are collecting. And that is the affordability crisis that has settled over this country like a heavy fog that just will not lift. Inflation in Canada has cooled somewhat from its peak, but the damage it did is still sitting in the price of every grocery run, every prescription refill, every tank of gas. Seniors on fixed incomes felt the full weight of that inflation surge, and while the CPP and OAS adjustments provided some relief, they did not fully close the gap for people who were already living close to the edge. Housing is a crisis of its own. Seniors who rent are facing renewal increases that bear no resemblance to the modest CPI adjustments in their benefit checks. Seniors who own their homes are sitting on asset value they cannot spend while paying property taxes that have climbed every single year. And the cost of medication, dental care, and home support services continues to rise in a way that the benefit system was not designed to fully address. This is the reality that a lot of retirees across Canada are living right now, and it is why understanding every single dollar of your CPP, OAS, and GIS entitlement is so important. Not as a financial planning exercise, as a survival strategy. The 2026 updates matter because for a lot of seniors, a few extra dollars per month is not a rounding error. It is groceries. It is a prescription. It is the heat staying on in January. I want to hear from you right now. Scroll down and leave a comment below this video. Tell me, are you currently receiving CPP and OAS? And do you feel like you are getting the full amount you should be? Have you ever had your OAS clawed back and not understood why? Are you still trying to decide whether to delay your CPP or start it early? Drop your situation in the comments. You would be amazed how many people are dealing with exactly the same questions, and sometimes just reading that you are not alone in this makes a real difference. And if you found this video helpful, please share it. Send it to a spouse, a sibling, a friend who is approaching retirement or already in it. Because a lot of people are confused about these 2026 changes, and most of them will never get a clear explanation unless someone they trust sends it to them. That someone can be you. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, please do it right now. We cover CPP, OAS, GIS, CRA rules, retirement planning strategies, and government benefit updates specifically for Canadians, specifically for people who are in or near retirement and need this information delivered in plain language without the jargon. Hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications means you will never miss an update like this one again. Let me bring this home, because I want to leave you with the most important message of this entire video. The difference between a comfortable retirement and a stressful one in Canada right now is often not about how much you saved or how hard you worked. It is about whether you understand the system well enough to get everything you are actually entitled to. CPP, OAS, GIS, income splitting, clawback management, and deferral strategies are not complicated in concept. But they do require you to pay attention. They require you to ask questions. And they require you to stay updated when the rules change, which they are doing right now in 2026. A lot of seniors are receiving less than they should because of early benefit decisions they made without full information. A lot of others are losing OAS to clawbacks they never saw coming. And a lot of people who qualify for GIS are not even applying for it because they do not know they are eligible. This is not a one-time change. The system is going to keep evolving. The numbers are going to keep adjusting. And the gap between the seniors who understand how to navigate this and the ones who do not is going to keep widening. You now have the information. You know the questions to ask. You know what to look for in your My Service Canada account. You know the factors that separate the $1,800 retiree from the $2,400 retiree. And you know that the decisions you make or fail to make in the next few months could affect your income for the rest of your life. Do not let urgency become anxiety. Let it become action. Check your account. Review your payment history. Look into your GIS eligibility if your income is modest. And talk to a retirement income specialist if you are unsure about timing your CPP or managing your OAS clawback risk. You have worked your whole life for this. Make sure you are collecting every single dollar of it. Thank you for watching. Share this video, leave a comment, and we will see you in the next one.